I can't provide instrumental music since I'm a text-based AI. But I can describe how a Korean enterprise might sound. Afrobeat is known for its polyrhythms, dead-injected percussion, groovy bass lines, and vibrant layers of instrumental melodies, often mixing brass instruments with electric guitars. If you're imagining a Korean influence, you might blend in traditional Korean instruments like the gayagim or jangu, adding a unique twist to the Afrobeat style. This fusion would create a lively and dynamic sounds, perfect for dancing or losing yourself in rhythm. However, if you'd like, I could write lyrics that might fit this combination of styles. Let me know. If you'd like, I could write lyrics that might fit this combination of styles. Let me know. Let me know. However, if you'd like, I could write lyrics that might fit this combination of styles. Let me know. If you'd like, I could write lyrics that might fit this combination of styles. Let me know. 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 달빛 아래 그대와 스텝을 맞춰 심장이 뛰어 세상은 잊혀져 말하지 않아도 네가 다 느껴져 이 순간이 영원하길 빌어줘 우리만의 리듬 달빛 품고 숨결 사이에 파도같이 흐르고 어두운 밤에도 빛이 넘쳐 춤을 춰 끝없이 계속 연결로 내 손길 따라 네가 움직이고 빛의 그림자 속이 춤의 뒤로 거짓없는 순간 속으로 빠져 너와 나의 우주는 어느새 활짝 펼쳐 내 손길 따라 네가 움직이고 빛의 그림자 속이 춤의 뒤로 거짓없는 순간 속으로 빠져 너와 나의 우주는 어느새 활짝 펼쳐 우리만이 익은 달빛 품고 숨결 사이에 파도같이 흐르고 어두운 밤에도 빛이 넘쳐 춤을 춰 끝없이 계속 연결로 소리가 몸을 지나칠 때 내 심장이 곡에 맞춰 짚네 의미 없는 시간 의미를 채우고 내 맘은 온통 너로 가득히 채워져 우리만의 리듬 달빛 품고 숨길 사이에 파도같이 흐르고 어두운 밤에도 빛이 넘쳐 춤을 춰 끝없이 계속 연결로
Happy Monday. Glad to see somebody made it anyway. Ah, here I am. It's Monday morning. I don't know when you're tuning in or if you see me. Today we're going to be letting go. Uh, Part of this whole thing, I've one more post after this, but it's all leading to the ability to let go and discover who we want to be, make the choice. Because knowledge, when held gently, offers us the freedom of a pair of wings. It's a tool that allows us to fly high, expand our horizons, and gives us the opportunity to view the world in a different way. But when we hold on to our beliefs like there's no other truth, we those wings become an anchor, and that anchor is like a security blanket that we're afraid to let go of because it might we have no idea what's gonna happen if we let go. But what if the monsters we fear, like failure, judgment, and uncertainty, aren't as scary as we think? Do you think you could let go of your security blanket long enough to claim your wings? I mean, the choice is yours. I can't tell you what to do with your life. Now, letting go is about feeling, accepting, and releasing suppressed emotions. It's not about holding back or avoiding. Now, emotions are the definitions that we give our feelings. You see, the feeling that you experience as fear is the same feeling that you experience as excitement. The only difference is the meaning that you give it. So, depending on how you define that feeling, you can either suffer or feel pleasure. When you allow yourself to fully experience emotions without judgment or resistance, you'll be able to release and realize that that emotion, when you take it away, it's just a feeling. And you are the only one who can define what that feeling means to you. I'm not here to make that judgment on you. And of course, as I come today, the chat isn't working as usual. So we'll just move on. Let's see if we'll just move on. I guess all I have for the chat is a spinning wheel. So all you have to do to change whatever fear you have is to redefine the feeling, and fear goes away. Simple. Only problem is our ego believes it knows everything, and it equates surrender with loss of control. And when we're out of control, we become defensive and condescending because it goes against our worldview. It's like the dog sitting on the nail howling because it's sitting on the nail. But the thing is, it's clinging to that misery because that's familiar to it, and it doesn't hurt enough for it to get up. And a lot of times, the unfamiliarity of the freedom feels risky. I mean, you know what the pain feels like, but what's it going to be on the other side of the pain? But what if on the other side that's where freedom lies, and if you just let go of the pain? So another reason we resist this is some of the hidden benefits of holding on. Like, some people hold on to anger because it gives them a sense of power. False sense, but still a sense of power. Or people will hold on to victimhood because it gives them the attention that they seek. Now, I had a friend, when we met, they were working at this job, and they had been there for a while, and they were saying that everybody at the job was against them. So I said, well, why don't you quit that job and find another job? I mean, no use going through life being miserable. So they quit and found another job. And after a few months, everybody at that job ended up being against them. So they went to another job, and another job, and all ended up the same. After a while, you start wondering, is it the whole world or is it you? I don't know if they ever changed. Not my place. Another reason we resist change is this illusion of time. Because in our busy lives, we have so much to do that we just don't have time to set aside to make the change. And we say, we'll do it tomorrow. I mean, I'll suffer through today. Tomorrow, I'll make the change. Tomorrow never comes. And the freedom that they're seeking a lot of times is right here in the present. Other thing that keeps us from trying to make change is our attachment to our beliefs and emotions. It's like, instead of feeling angry, we are angry. Instead of feeling fear, we are afraid. Instead of feeling sick, we are sick. Now, we need to detach, and the simple detachment of the words of I am or I feel. I feel gives you a bit of separation. It doesn't mean that it's you. It gives you a little power to separate, because you're not your fear, you're not your anger, and you're not your illness. You're the observer of that feeling, and you have the ability to describe that feeling in any way that you want. And if you choose a way that gives you, that empowers you, that's going to be a lot better than the false sense of power that you gave yourself by being angry. So these are just some of the some of the security blankets that we hold on to. And it reminds me of some security blankets that I had. The numbers 16, 21, and 28 come to mind when I think of this. And I'm sure quite a few of you will be able to relate, at least to the first two. I don't know when the third makes sense to you, but when I was 16, I had the world figured out. I knew how things went, and my poor parents, they were stuck in the past, and I mean, it's just like there was the world had changed so much since they actually had time to learn what was going on. So I just knew everything, and they didn't know shit. And I remember around 21, I couldn't figure out when exactly they had the time to go to school and study in between working and running a household and raising a teenager that knew everything. But somehow in those 5 years, they got really, really smart, and they knew shit. In fact, they knew shit that I didn't even know. And I was surprised that, wow, my parents know shit. Then came 28. 28 was the year that I figured out that I didn't have to know everything. And more importantly, I didn't have to be perfect. I could make mistakes. I could be human. And was such a relief to think that I don't have to know everything. I can actually just be me. It goes back and forth. Sometimes I forget that. Sometimes I don't. But when you get to a point where you want to question, even if you're considering questioning something that you might or might not want to change, the first thing you need to do is create a gap. I know I've talked about the gap before, but this is the gap between the feeling and the emotion that you attach to it. And the gap is where you make this exchange. In the gap, there's nothing to prove and nothing to defend. It's a place to acknowledge our beliefs and emotions and the attachments that we have to them. Once you've acknowledged them, the first thing you want to do is sit with it. When you feel resistance, just sit with the emotion. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Just let it play out. After a while, the emotion will go away and you realize that it's just a feeling. And once you realize that it's just a feeling, it's time to name it and tame it. I mean, say out loud, why am I resisting whatever? Because I feel that something will happen. So, for instance, I'm resisting making a mistake because I'm afraid that people will judge me and think that I'm stupid. And if you sit with that and really think about it, it's like, how can somebody else make you feel stupid? You're the only one that can do that. People can have their opinions, and their opinions can be wrong, and a lot of times they are. But it's the opinion that you have of yourself that becomes the most important. And the longer you sit with that notion or that statement, the weaker that statement becomes. And that's how you reframe the pain. And once it's reframed, you can just release it. There's always going to be a greater sense of accomplishment once you release the pain. The pain is greater until you release it. So, for an example, I had my son. when he was younger, Xavier. Anytime he had some food that he didn't like, he'd put it in his mouth, and then and we're like, Xavier, just chew it up and swallow it. He wouldn't spit it out. He wouldn't chew it and swallow it. He'd just sit there and let the taste that he couldn't stand just linger in his mouth. It was kind of funny to watch, but to give you an example of how that feels, I want you to make a fist, whether you're live or watching the recording. Just make a fist and hold it tight. Now slowly release. The pressure, the pain, the pressure goes away. And that's what it feels like when you release the emotions and recognize the feelings that are attached. That relief of the emotion didn't really, the emotion was so much more intense than the feeling actually was. So when you realize that that emotion is the security blanket that you're holding on to, you're allowed to release it and then claim your wings. Now, as we move on to the levels of attachment that we've been talking about, again, to move from level to level, the first thing you want to do is create a gap. And remember, this gap is a place for reflection and a place to exercise your free will, whether to move forward or not. Because as I said before, there are pros and cons to each level of attachment. And if you, all I ask is that you question whether it is a pro or a con. Is it working for you, or does it no longer serve you? I want you to challenge the notion. So also move in baby steps. And let's start with fanaticism. Okay, fanaticism, we see the world in black and white. Anything that challenges our beliefs feels like a personal attack on our very existence. The conversation starter would be kind of like, how could you believe that? Because fanaticism demands conformity. And if, excuse me, if we go back, let me adjust the light, it's getting a little dark. If I can just a little bit, can't I? Here I am. If we go back to the lady who actually led me to do this in the first place, she had a problem because no liberal would sit down and talk to her. But then when she had the chance to talk to a liberal, all of a sudden, you can't talk to them because they disagree with her. I mean, it's like you guys are looking at this and you're going to try to tell me that you're looking at a blue case. And it's like, no, this case isn't blue. This case is white and it has a silver snap. And, that's why I can't talk to you. Because you're just wrong. And that's fanaticism. And in order to get out of fanaticism, you have to give up the right or wrong, black or white, and look for the gray areas in the middle. Because that's when you can move in to internalization. Now, internalization, our beliefs and ideas are deeply ingrained, but we're more likely to check out the other side of the discussion. Question in internalization is, why haven't you gotten married yet? Because that demands an explanation from you to why you aren't living up to my view of the world. But at least I'm asking. So going back to this case that you say is blue, and I'm telling you, no, it's white and it has a snap. Internalization, at least I'll walk around to the other side and say, oh, I see what you're talking about. It is blue. And you can see what I was talking about. It's white and it has a silver snap. Now, internalization it's lighter, but we still have a pretty heavy attachment to our beliefs. In order to move from internalization into identity, we need to let go of conditional love, judgment, and rejection. At least enough to where we don't depend on it as much. So when we get to identity, we've begun to separate our sense of self from our beliefs. But still identify strongly with certain roles, labels, or ways of being. The question that starts those are like the most common. It's like, so what do you do? And the question seeks a label of identity. This is one that most of us fall into when we're asked. It's like, well, what do you do? Well, I'm a teacher, and it's attached. We're attached to that label. And if you want to move out of identity, you have to give up focusing on your labels and look more towards your values and what you offer. So for instance, I'm not a teacher. I'm someone who shares my knowledge with others. I help others learn. I help people expand their mind. And when you think about that, it's much deeper than a teacher. It's something that gives you a little more juice. I mean, a teacher, or are you somebody that actually? Oh, wait, somebody that actually gives a lot of benefit to the world, and it's a little more empowering. But in order to move from in order to move from identity to preference, you need to let go of that identity completely defining you. I mean, it's something that you do. If teacher was the label, that's the identity. The value of sharing knowledge and helping people is when you start letting go of that identity defining who you are. Because in preference, we let go of the excuse me, we let go of the rigid identities and beliefs, but we still have preferences and inclinations that guide our actions. So in preference, instead of what it says, because I didn't change it because I did these earlier, the question actually is just like we're going to watch a football game or whatever. And it's like, so which team do you like? It's not an attachment. I'm asking for a preference. We're going to go watch this game. Who do you want to win? Who are you pulling for? It's a preference. Now, in order to let go of your preference, you have to live in the moment. And just letting go of the moment in that instance would be, let's just go watch the game. And in in preference, let me back up a little bit. In preference, if the team loses, if your team loses, well, that's too bad. I really wish my team would have won. But if you completely let go of that preference and just enjoy the sport, whether your team wins or loses. It's like if your team loses, I mean, did they give a good effort? And if they did or didn't, how about the other team? Did the other team play well? When you find that you can find enjoyment even in things that you don't prefer. When I go to Hawaii and it rains, I wish it wasn't raining, but since it is, that's all right. I can still enjoy Hawaii because it's warmer than San Francisco. Anyway, these are the things I want you guys to think about. It's having the ability to make the change and exercise your free will, because your free will is the choices that you make. Otherwise, you're just a victim of cause and effect. Cause and effect is cause and effect says, I'm not stepping around to the other side of this case. I don't care what you say. Because I won't, the effect is I have no idea what the other side looks like. So free will is when I question what I'm doing, and then that question guides me in the direction that I want to go, whether it's serving me or not serving me anymore. I'd like for you guys to think about a belief that you would even consider letting go. You know, something that you've been clinging on to. You know, and just consider, you know, what would happen if you let go of that belief. What possibilities could open up for you? And then, in the meantime, if you can practice, if you can take that belief and just move it up one step, you know, if it's an identity that you're attached to, see what it feels like to let go of that identity and have it be a preference. See if that works better for you. And of course, the sun came out of the clouds. I'm going back and forth, and I don't know, production side of this driving me nuts. But anyway, I'd be really curious to see, you know, how this is going for you. You know, so like either later put in the comments, you know, how all this made you feel, or drop me a DM and let me know, because I really be curious to find out, you know, how things are going, you know, and in this journey of discovering if you control knowledge or if knowledge controls you. So that's about it. And as I said, the chat's down like usual. So anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me on this rainy Monday here. Anyway, and I hope to hear from you soon. Got one more blog post to release where we explore going beyond knowledge. So until then, you guys have a great week. I'll see you then.